Well, hi, everybody. Welcome into what promises to be a great edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Love bringing the show to you. Love having you guys watch and getting your feedback on whatever platform you might be viewing us on. And the first thing I want to do before I forget is wish everybody out there a really, really great and safe holiday season. They are here, and we hope everybody, gets what they want for Christmas. And for you guys, I know a lot of guys that want a new set of golf clubs. And boy, have I got a set of golf clubs for you guys to want. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. The weather here in Las Vegas has been, let me think of a word. Well, it sucks. Okay, it's been windy, it's been rainy, it's been cold. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, I'm a hot weather guy. I hate the cold weather. I don't like layering up and the whole thing. So I'm just kind of passing. I'm going in, hitting balls and stuff, but it's going to get better. We hope very, very soon. But I know most of the country is kind of experiencing some rough weather now. So I know it's probably keeping a lot of you guys in from playing golf, but hopefully that is going to change. We've got a great show for you today. We've got a gentleman on who you're going to know if you've been playing golf at all for any length of time. You're going to be very familiar with his name. We expect a really good interview because this guy is chock full of information, and I know that we're going to have a very, very good time with him. Let me tell you a little bit about our special guest, Patrick Reed. Patrick is, like I mentioned, a very well-known, recognized tour player that turned professional way back in 2011. I think in 2011 they were still hitting hickory shaft clubs. Patrick earned his PGA Tour card in 2012 after having really a stellar college career at Augusta State University, where he was not one, but a two-time All-American. Patrick has played on the PGA Tour, the European Tour, and now plays the LIV Tour, which we'll talk about a little bit. He's a three-time member of the U.S. Ryder Cup and a three-time member of the President's Cup. Patrick has 9 PGA Tour victories, and, he's won a major Masters champion in 2018. So that is awesome. Patrick is heavily involved in club design with his product line called Grindworks USA, which we're going to make you very familiar with before the end of the show. So right now it's my pleasure to bring him up on camera and welcome Patrick to the show. Hey, buddy. Thank you for taking time out. I know it's a busy schedule for you, but thanks for taking time out and coming on the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Let me start off by asking you, who gave you the nickname Captain America?
That was the fans back at Ryder Cup. We were out there playing and we needed a push, and I just was kind of in one of those modes. It was blinders on, just going absolutely nuts, trying to play as hard as I could for not only my teammates but my country. And
right.
The fans, next thing you know, just started chanting Captain America, and the name is stuck. And it's been awesome. It's been amazing to be known as Captain America, especially with how much I travel overseas and play.
Yeah.
The name seems to travel everywhere, but
yeah.
It's one of those that you just embrace and have a good time with.
Oh, absolutely. That's all you can do. What got you interested in playing golf in the first place, Patrick? And did you think it's going to lead you to making a living playing golf?
Ever since I was little and growing up, I had a set of clubs in my hand, and the access for me was a lot easier. We lived on a golf course down in San Antonio, the Dominion. I actually lived there on the 6th green, and I remember ever since I was little, I just kind of walk out the door, go down there, chip putt around the green. I'd play 7 through 9 down to the clubhouse, would kind of do my practice, go swimming, then kind of play 1 through 6 home. And, ever since that, I've always had not only enjoyed the game, but also had a lot of fun with it. The people at the club, the members were always very welcoming to kids.
Sure.
And think that's something that is huge because unless you, I mean, unless you're basically forced to do something, the only way that you're really going to be successful is by enjoying it and having fun with it.
Absolutely.
And,
Correct.
at the Dominion growing up, the club, they were amazing. And because of that, it allowed me just to get hooked on the game. And, just as well as anybody, once you hit that first really solid and good golf shot, you're always trying to chase for it. You're like, oh man, that was amazing. And it's addicting. So you're always back and trying to do it again and again. And, for me, I'm just the type that once I hit that one good one, it was kind of off for the races. I was always going to be grinding and trying to improve. But, the thing is, you never know if you're ever good enough to be professional in any sport.
Right.
The only thing is you have to go out and work the hardest you can and do everything in your power, obviously, to try to make it. And at that point, just allow it to go and allow it to run.
Oh, absolutely correct. And you know this, Patrick, and you've probably played with 100 guys like this. There are so many guys that are really good players, but yet can't seem to make it on the tour, to get on the tour. Why do you think that is? Is it a mental thing? Is it a pressure thing? Or what's going on?
Well, it's both mental and pressure. A lot of times when you're under immense pressure, mentally you're not in that actual moment. You're focusing on everything out on the outside.
Right.
And you get into a very uncomfortable state. And the problem is when you get into uncomfortable state, you always go to what's comfortable. And a lot of the times that's bad habits, whether it's in your swing, whether it's the way you're thinking about certain things around. But for me, I've always felt a lot of the guys I see out there that are really good that just haven't quite made that jump and being able to make it to that next level is they're not putting themselves in enough uncomfortable situations during practice.
Good point.
I'm a firm believer that you have to learn how to stay uncomfortable and work through the uncomfortable areas. Let's be honest. So I wasn't very successful at Augusta leading up until the Masters when I won in 18. Every tee shot out there, the holes were fine, but I'd step up and I'd try to hit a cut off some of those holes that you need to hit a cut on, and I just couldn't do it. And I've lived in the right trees on 18. I've lived left on 18, very little. But, there's these certain tee shots that are demanding 17. Every time I try to hit a draw there, even though it's a straight hole, the draw when it hits the fairway just kind of keeps kicking left and ended up blocked out. And of course, the one year that I really worked hard on actually figuring out how to hit a cut driver as well, I was able to hit the cut off of 15. So then the ball wouldn't run behind those trees on the tee box. Even though you're in the fairway, those trees will block you off down that left side.
Yeah.
I was able to hit 17 fairway and 18. I played, I might have played 18 at worst, I think even par for the week, which leading into that was a huge success. For me, it was always 15 tee, 17, 18 were the holes that I had to just, pay attention to.
And you did.
I did. And that's the thing. But you start seeing successes and start getting those huge strides when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to do that is by practicing.
That's right. That's
you don't go to the
exactly
range and just you don't go to the range and just freewheel and hit and giggles every day and just go do the same things over and over again.
That's very well said. And that brings me to my next question. I'm glad you asked it. When a certain part of your game starts going south when you're playing, which tell us what that is, number one. And number two, how do you keep it together to get it into the house?
So while we're playing, it's kind of one of those things that, so say the draw isn't working, right? And, at that point you need to know, okay, since that shot's not working, what's my next go-to? Well, my next go-to might be a fade. So we have to go and grind and work on that and go play, and play to what is comfortable, what's working. You have to play to your strengths every time you play. And every day it might be different. One day you just might not be feeling a full swings, like 100% iron shots. Okay, well then, we're doing all off speeds today. We're going to do the soft ones unless we have to hit a full one.
Right.
And it's one of those things when you get on the golf course, your stubbornness has to get thrown out. right? Because golf's such a humbling game that if you stay stubborn, it's just going to beat you to the ground no
Right.
matter what.
Exactly right.
Even if it doesn't matter if you're known for your off speeds. If that's not working that day, you need to recognize it quickly and go to the things that are working that are going to give you a chance to shoot a number. And then afterwards, that's when you work on it. You go to the range, whether it's afterwards, off week, before, then you figure it out with your coach and things like that. But when it's on game time, you play with what you got.
Play with what you got.
If something's not working, you go to whatever is working.
You adjust.
At that point, it's all about shooting a number. It's not
Exactly.
about what looks pretty. It's about that number.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Patrick, do you think that most weekend amateurs overcomplicate their swing, and that's a big part of them really not getting better, much better? I mean, you've played in a ton of events with amateurs. You've seen it. What do you think?
Personally, I think every amateur I've played with, whether it's pro-ams or whether I see them at home practicing, there are three fundamental flaws that they do. If you're a baseball player or a basketball player, or let's use football for example. You're a quarterback. Your first throw, is it going to be right when you come out, you get on that field? Are you going to set up there during a practice and go and send a 55-yard throw down the field? No. You're going to start short and warm up into the longer stuff. Every amateur golfer I see goes to the range, immediately takes a big swing, whether it's with a long club, and you got to hit a couple, then hit a driver, and then they're off to the tee.
Yeah.
Well, your body needs time to warm up, and the easiest way to warm up through timing and through just kind of body movements, you start with the shortest swing, which is putting. That's the smallest swing. Then chipping. Then you go to the range, work from small club up to the driver. Then you can go to the tee.
Yeah.
But how many guys I see, they get there 5 minutes before a round that they're playing. They go and hit like 4 balls on the range, a driver. They haven't hit a single chip, haven't hit a putt. They go to the golf course. And then when they get on the golf course, their speed is off. How many 3-putts I see out there?
Yeah.
Their speed's off. And then even if they're not 3-putting, they're hitting their first putt to 3 or 4 or 5 feet. Well, that's not gimme range at the club. So now you're having to grind, and that's mentally wearing you down. So later in the round, you're mentally spent. You haven't hit a chip, so you have no clue how the ball is going to react. You don't know, you don't know what kind of motion it is. And then on the range, you also have no clue how you're hitting the golf ball because you haven't put an alignment rod down, so you're not actually aiming. And that's the easiest way to get in a bad habit is when you go to the driving range, it's a big open field.
Yeah.
Even though you're picking a target, it's very hard to get yourself aligned correctly on those shots. So if I'm literally, you show up 20 minutes before you play, hit 5 putts, hit a couple chips, then go to the range. First thing you do, put an alignment rod down and then hit shots off the alignment rod. Yeah. So then at least you know what your tendencies are. Because when the alignment rod's down, you're always aimed square. If the ball's consistently going left, well, you get on that first tee, aim at the right bunker and just let the ball go left towards the fairway. Play with what you got. And that's where I see a lot of mistakes in the amateurs. I mean, there's never an alignment rod down. Yeah. And you sure as heck know they're not going to stand behind and line themselves up and go through a routine to hit a golf ball in the range if they're loosening up.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because I personally think that there's some moving parts of the golf swing, Patrick, as you know, but I think it's not all that complicated. You turn back, you turn through, you do a couple basic things, and it could just be a mess. Last question before we take our first short break. Outside of the money list, and we all know that's very important, obviously, what stats do you particularly pay attention to, and why?
So for me, I've always focused on obviously fairways in reg, greens in regulation, putting, short game. But one of the biggest ones I've always liked to focus on is, all right, how is my 1, 2, 3 holes? So it depends on, of the day. So whether I'm starting on 10, whether I'm starting on 1, my first 3 holes, and then I want to know what my back 9 scoring is. Because it's all about getting off to a good start and then finishing strong. Because if you finish strong, you're taking that momentum going in the next day. If you get off to a fast start and get off to a good start, now you're not playing from behind, and you're able to hit that round running rather than sitting there and trying to play catch up. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, they put so much pressure on them early that it kind of puts them in a hard spot to try to catch up. But also, if you're finishing rounds off how you're supposed to, or finishing tournaments off how you're supposed to, whether it's final round or last 9, what that's doing is that's setting you up for the next day,
Right.
and the next tournament next week. It gives you some momentum and also things to build on.
Right.
And also, let's be honest, if you finish a round well, you're a lot more clear after the round on thinking, okay, what did I do well? What didn't I do well?
Right.
When you finish poorly, no matter what golfer you are, what competitor you are, you immediately get done. Right. First thing you say to your coach is, it's awful. It's horrendous. We need
right. Exactly
well,
right.
No, you actually played really well for 15. You just made a couple bad swings, made a couple bad mistakes. These last couple holes, I mean, that was the bad part. Oh no, it was all bad. As an athlete, that's always, as a competitor, but really it's like, no, okay. But when you finish well, then your thinking becomes a little better.
Yeah,
and also
absolutely. You're feeling
golf's almost as mental as it is physical.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you about that when we come back from our break. So, all right, we're going to step away, take a short break here on the 19th Hole Podcast. We come back, we'll have a lot more with our very special guest, Mr. Patrick Reed. Stay tuned. We're back with you right after this.
Welcome to Tea Time Fitness with Janice. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton with JT Fitness and Golf, and let's get into some stretches that you can do on the driving range. So grab your driver and let's get started. So let's get into a 5-iron position, and you're going to have your club across your back. You're going to hinge at the hips like you're going to hit a 5-iron. I want you to rotate to the side and come back. Rotate to the other side. Come back. Keep those hips square forward and back. Cross it over and back. Add that into your next driving range session. Take your game to the next level. Join the JT Fitness and Golf 90-day golf fitness program. Go to jtfitnessandgolf.com for more details.
Are you an E or a C?
Both have Ridgeback.
These are loaded with tech.
Which one are you gaming? Definitely E for me.
It's just so forgiving.
I'm definitely an E.
C is for Cheka. What else?
C is for kill it.
C is me. Low spinning bombs.
So, are you an E or a C?
I don't know. Hey, wait a minute.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
All right, we are back, everybody, with more of the show. We're speaking with tour player Mr. Patrick Reed, and your lovely wife, Justine, used to caddy for you. Now it's her younger brother, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Patrick.
Yes.
What's the disadvantage, if any, of having your wife caddy for you?
Honestly,
can you get
let's be
away with
honest,
screaming at her, saying, "You gave me the wrong damn club, come on."
Well, that's the thing with Justine. What's amazing about her is she's such a competitor, and nothing gets her up, nothing gets her down. She's so level-headed, and with me wearing my emotions on my sleeve, if I go out and I make a bunch of birdies, I'm really amped. If I go the other way, do some things I'm not supposed to, I can get down pretty quick. So with having that even keel, she's able to be like, hey, it's all right, let's just keep going. Or if I'm getting too high, she kind of brings me back down to earth. let's be honest, when your wife's on the bag, there's a lot of things she can say that probably a normal caddy can't.
You're right.
You know, and so, you know, and if you look at it just in general, who's going to be your number one supporter and fan? It's going to be your wife,
Right?
You know, or a family member.
Yeah,
it's not.
Right.
You know, they have a little bit more interest as well as a little bit more motivation to play, you know, for you to play well, because I mean they're family, and that was something special for us. Is, you know, whenever she first said that she wanted a caddy, I'm like, honey, no, there's no way. The bag's bigger than she is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
hard work.
It's comical. Some of the pictures I see where the bag and her are basically the same size. Then they're going, there's no way. She's like, oh, I can do it. I was like, honey, I know you're an athlete. I know through swimming, soccer. I mean, and being dual bachelors of health administration and nursing, and the working nights. I'm like, I can only imagine, you know, just the toll that has to take.
It's tough.
But I was like, this is different. So she's like, I can do it. So we're in August. I throw everything in the golf bag that you need for a bad weather day. Because let's be honest, I could lighten up my golf bag. Anyone could carry it, right? But you'd need the heavy days where you're going to have the rain gear,
Right,
everything
you need stuff,
umbrella.
right?
Well, it's so hot that day in Houston. I'll never forget it. And I mean, we're go full warm up, go through 9 holes. She's caddying, carrying, and I'm just dripping after 9. I'm like, all right, are we done? She's like, no, we have 9 more to go. I got done with 9. I'm literally walking out of the 18th. I'm just like, I need a water. I'm like dying here. I need something to drink, and couldn't drink it fast enough. And we get done, and she just looks at me and goes, "Is that it?" I'm like, "All right, you're hired. Let's go."
Oh my gosh!
For somebody to literally put her career on hold. I mean, her dream was to run a hospital. For her literally to go and put her dream on hold to come caddy for me, and because she wanted to spend time with me and be there for me, just shows what kind of person she is, to put her dream on hold to help me reach my dreams.
Yeah,
my
no,
goals.
that's awesome, and it is
Yeah,
a lot of hard work. It is a lot.
It
People
is.
don't realize that these guys are in their dough, and I could just hear her saying, "Patrick, you don't make the 6-footer. You don't run this in. No dinner tonight, my friend."
No.
Yeah.
So we actually made a deal. We made a deal. So if we made the cut, you know, we'd go out for a nice steak dinner. If we miss a cut, PB&J's. And there's been multiple times, whether it's Monday qualifiers. I'll never forget at Zurich. At the time, we were teetering right on that cut line, and we're on 9, which was our last hole on Friday.
Yeah.
At par 3, and I had this brutally, I think it was like 22 footer, but it had a ton of, like, it looked like it was going to break hard to the right, and then right when it gets down hole, it looks like it was going to straighten. And I was telling her the read, and she's like, no, this is the read. And I go, okay. So I was like, I'll go with her read, because if I miss it, then I can just be like, hey, hun, I mean, it was the wrong read. And of course, it goes right in the heart.
Yeah.
And she did it twice during the Monday qualifiers, that instead of having to play a playoff, got a spot. And, you know, so it was great. I mean,
Good for
her brother
her.
had had some big shoes to fill.
There you go. There you go. Without doing a deep dive, Patrick, what was your motivation for getting over to the LIV Tour?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, I mean, as a family, we had to sit down and see if we thought it was best, not only for me, but also for the family and the team. So I included coach, caddy, my family, my core. And, you know, really, I felt like I was just, you know, getting beaten around and just kind of everything going on with the PGA Tour and everything, where having to feel like, even though we can make our own schedules, having to play almost every week and sit there and play 31 to 35 events a year because you take time off. Now all of a sudden you're stuck trying to play catch up on FedEx. And for me, wanting to always play on both tours, be worldwide, play PGA Tour and European Tour, I was at that 31 to 35 quickly on those numbers because I had to play the extra events on the European Tour. I take pride in that. Being an honorary lifetime member, I've always, you know, enjoyed showing my support and going over there and playing. And to sit there and see, okay, well, now I can play less events, can really focus on my game and get ready for those events. But also now with being able to play less, have more time to do with, you know, and spend time with family, spend time with the little one.
Sure.
I mean, a daughter's 8, son's 4. You know, at Thanksgiving, we went to Greenbrier earlier this year. We went there for a week, and I was actually able to not have to worry about golf, not have to practice, and spent the entire vacation on literally just putting in the kids, whatever they wanted to do. It's daddy
Great.
hanging out with the children and just, being a dad.
Great,
And
great.
I haven't been able to do that. This was the first time being able to do that. And for me, I just felt like it was a better balance of, work and also, personal life.
Yeah.
Was to be able to live and
And I think
have that opportunity.
And I think most of the other players that are on LIV Tour feel the exact same way. And I think it's very justified. Before we take our break, I want to bring up some pictures and have you go over them briefly with me.
Okay.
And I think we're going to bring those up. There you go. This was the last event in Miami, the Aces. And you've got Taylor Gooch, you've got DJ, you've got you, and you've got, why can't I think of his name all of a sudden? I know his dad. Who's that next to you? Patrick?
That's Pat Perez.
That's Pat Perez. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's quite a character. And this was you
He
holding
is.
up the trophy after you guys won the event.
Right. So, it's amazing. That was actually, I think that was Portland. That was our first event we
Portland.
won.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that was our first. That was the first time we had all four of us together, and we go out and we won our first event. So it was just kind of out for the races and running, started running the tables. And, really it just shows that not only is it the individual side of LIV that you go out and you're playing individual golf, but you're playing for something more. You're playing for three other guys. You're playing for your team. And, the pressures are different, obviously, than if it's just an individual event. But, it was a start of something special. And, we can't wait to just continue it on going next year and really just going forward.
Yeah, but just to clarify, you guys did win the last event, I believe, in Miami. And if I'm not mistaken, Patrick, I think you made the last putt to capture that. Anyway, next picture is
There's
you go.
Miami.
You've got to get the bosses in there, right?
Yeah. There's the four bosses and the four players.
Exactly.
We got Boss Lady 1, Boss Lady 2, Boss Lady 3, and Boss Lady 4.
That is a great picture. That I would get that puppy framed.
And the cool thing, I think the coolest thing is with how it is in LIV and now with all the teams being set going forward is not only are you now really a part of a team, but your families also are now part of that team.
Yeah.
So we've built just a group, and I mean DJ and I have been close. I know Paulina Justine's been close. I've known Pat, little. I've always liked him, but this year was huge. Actually getting to know Pat and getting to know not just him but his wife, and same thing with Gooch and his wife, and how down to earth and amazing people they are. Because I'm a prime example. You can't always just believe in what you read. And so I haven't really I've always wanted to get to know these guys first. And these guys are a great group of guys. And we have obviously some, amazing better halves. And because of that, we all just come together, and I feel like it's really authentic. Nothing's having to be manufactured, and it just all fits.
Yeah. You all look like you're having a great time, and you're so right. A lot of what's written, especially golf, is nothing but a bunch of crap, and people have to remember that. All right, next picture, and I think it's probably the last. Who's that holding up the trophy?
Oh yeah, 2018. That is an amazing moment. Now, so here's the greatest thing about that. So it wasn't just when I made the putt that we finally got that monkey off your back of winning your first major, but what happened after I got done with going to media, I went back to Butler's cabin, and I had the jacket, and right when the door opens, it's my daughter. And she goes, "Daddy, you did it." So the first words that came out of anyone's mouth is, "Daddy, you did it. I love you."
Oh, that is awesome.
As a dad and as a person, I just melted. And that's what I'm going to remember the most about that event, rather than, I did this on the golf course or that. No, it was all about the moments with spending it with my family and my children. and having a moment like that with my daughter. And, you know, it was special. And obviously, you know, hopefully we can hold up a couple more of those trophies and, you know, try to go out and attack more of the majors and big events and keep
Yep.
putting our name in that category.
Exactly, and I'm sure you will get the opportunity. All right,
And it's right over there, the trophy.
Yeah, it's right over there, and it's
We got
gorgeous.
the trophy right there, yeah.
It's gorgeous. I mean, all of your trophies
Thank
are
you.
absolutely beautiful.
Thank
All right,
you.
we're going to step away, take another short break. We come back. Patrick and I are going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that's golf clubs. So stay with us. We are back shortly. One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscle back irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
I mentioned at the top of the show about being Christmas time, and I know a lot of golfers out there are looking for Santa to drop off a new set of clubs under the tree. And we're going to show you something that I think is going to convince you that these are the sticks that you need to get. Patrick, you'll notice I did a quick wardrobe change with the
I love the hat.
And I love it. They look absolutely great. But let me hold one of these up. And yeah, that way. And I was lucky enough to get a set from Grindworks, and these are the cavity backs. and they are absolutely, absolutely beautiful. They look great, they feel great, they hit great. So I want to get into it a little bit with you about your involvement with Grindworks USA. And like I say, easy website, go to grindworksusa.com. You'll see the full complement of stuff that they have and the amazing prices they have. But I am serious when I tell you, the first time I hit these clubs, it was like a hot knife through butter. I'm going, whoa. And I can't wait to get out in the golf course. As I mentioned to you, the weather here has been horrible. But I can't wait to actually get these on the golf course. So what is it about these clubs that just make them so different from the other clubs? Because it's a crowded space, my friend, as you know.
It is. It's a very crowded space. But for me, it's all about just the little, always trying to find that little inch, that little advantage. Because when you get at the top level where we are, it's the small things and the attention to detail that make or break a guy winning a golf tournament, finishing 10th, missing a cut. It's all the tiny things. And so for us, and for me, I was sitting there on the range with my coach KK on at Bay Hill one day, and I was hitting, and I felt like I was swinging really well, and I was just kind of having one of those moments. Everything was kind of pull, hook, and left. And I finally turned at him, and it was just like, okay, what's going on? Fix it. And, heat of the moment, obviously, with tournament right around the corner and just not knowing what's going on. Yeah. And so he pulls out his phone, starts taking video, and realizes that you're swinging really well. He goes, look, I'll even show you, you're in the right positions, but for some reason, the ball every once in a while is wanting to just kind of go left. We checked, obviously, specs, making sure those are on. Easiest thing that people run into issues is they never check their lie and loft enough, and a club will change, whether you're playing on firm surfaces or wet surfaces. Through periods of time, however balls you hit, your lies and lofts can change. And and specs were right on. And what we realized is, with the technology these days, putting we had the quad at the time, putting stickers on the face, you're really able to know where you're making contact with golf ball. And I hit 30 balls in a row. They wouldn't allow me to see the data. And they're like, okay, when you hit it, tell me if you've hit it solid, thin, heel, toe, and every time I hit one and I was like, oh, that felt amazing, was out of the heel. And every time I'd hit one and be like, oh, that was off the toe. The actual shot was right in the middle of the club face. And what happens is that just means the center of gravity is in the heel. And when the center of gravity gets in the heel, the problem is, as an athlete, as a golfer, you're trying to hit the ball in the center of the face.
Right.
Well, if the center of gravity is not in the center of the face, the club can have a gear effect and can twist and turn around, and the ball will react every once in a while like a toe hit, even though it's hit in the middle.
Yep.
And Justine found Grindworks in Nemi and contacted him. I was like, hey, with you being Club Making Hall of Fame and with your credentials, is there any way you could make a set of irons for Patrick? And he's like, oh, I would love to. Well, so I'm sitting there thinking he's just going to take one of his blades, bend it, put my shaft specs, and send it to me. And no, we started from a block of metal, and we had a ton of emails, video calls, and we went through the process of designing cavity backs and blades for myself. And then once we finally came up with a final product, and how much I loved them and just loved the way they felt and everything, we decided to sell them to the consumers. And the awesome thing is, I know with how my hands are and kind of as a professional golfer, if something's not spot on, we'll figure out a way to make it work. That's what we do. It's our profession. Well, the best thing was when we first had customers try them and tell them how much they loved them, and how. And I'll never forget getting an email from an older gentleman who's never hit a 6-iron in 4 or 5 years. He's always had a 6 hybrid, and we sent him a 6-iron anyways, and he hit 3 greens. Of the 3 of the 4 par 3s he hit was a 6-iron. He hit all 3 greens, and he says it's been unbelievable. He loves them. And I've obviously been able to see with my friends at the club who have purchased a set, where literally right when they get them, I'll have them hit theirs their irons they're using now and then them
Right.
hit mine, and just seeing the differences on numbers, flights, and consistencies.
Yeah.
That really the job is hit the club in the middle of the face. And if you're able to do that, then you want the center of gravity be in that right spot.
Right.
And when that happens, now you're, as long as the specs are where you want them, where they need to be, you're taking out that factor of it being the club. So now you're taking away one excuse or one factor. So now it's whatever you do in your golf swing is going to make the golf ball do what it's supposed to do. And you're not going to have those head scratchers. And, you know, we worked so hard, not only on just the blades, but also on the cavity backs, because the cavity backs, I didn't want to have you look down and look at a fat iron. I wanted you to look down, look like it's a top line of a blade, but then have the feel, the softness of, and the pureness of a blade, rather than it having that click and clanky sound that you're going to have in regular cavity backs. And I felt like we've done an absolutely amazing job in them.
You have, and I got to tell
telling
you,
me
Patrick,
that they felt like butter. It was just, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, you know what I love about them? When you put it down, it just looks so good, like you said anyway. And I've got the cavity backs, but I like the fact that you don't have a lot of crap written on the club like so many other club makers do. It's clean. It's sharp.
Yes. And that was a big thing also, was to not only have it perform as well as it's supposed to, but also have that clean look.
Yeah.
You know, kind of that old school, just, you know, the blades, old school, kind of just clean look, not very busy, not a lot going on. Same thing with the cavity backs. And, you know, and really just have that feel of back when you're hitting baladas, where it's just nice and soft. When you hit one really pure, just that nice, pure, buttery, just, you know, flush feeling, rather than, you know, every once in a while you get those clicky, just clanky sounding ones that are actually hit solid, but they're hollow. And for me, I wanted it to kind of bring old school into the new school technology on the feel and the look. And I feel like we were able to do that pretty well.
Absolutely. I know I'm going to get calls and emails. And Dennis, where can I find them? Where can I find them? Are they in retailers, this and that and the other? Tell everybody where you can find them.
No. So you go to grindworksusa.com, and you select not only the clubs, but also any shaft. Even if the shaft's not listed, we can get our hands on the shafts, any grip you want. The lengths, obviously. I mean, any swing weight, or lie and loft. And my biggest thing was, who wants to go out and buy a set of irons and then have to take those and get them redone? Whether it's reading new shafts, whether it's new lies, loss, why not just have it all done at once? And the great thing with us is, I'm so picky when it comes down to details and whether it's weighting, whether it's length, everything. So all the irons actually get checked by the guy that touches my clubs before I actually take them out and play. And so we make sure that they're right. So when they leave to get shipped out, that they are exactly what you asked for, whether it's lie, loft, length, swing weight, shaft, everything. Because the first experience is everything. You know, that first swing is exactly how you want it. And we've always thought, why would you go and buy a brand new set somewhere and then have to go change them before you even hit them? Why don't they arrive how they're supposed to?
How you want them, and that so often happens. Grindworksusa.com. One other thing before I let you go. Can you be a good player, can you be a good player with just having a really good mental game and so-so swing mechanics, or vice versa? Which would you rather have? Great swing mechanics and a little light on the mental game, or vice versa?
Depends how bad's the mechanics and how bad are you mentally. If the thing is, I feel like to have a great mental game, you have to know your mechanics. It's the guy that goes out there and doesn't really focus on the range, just kind of hits balls and then expects to play well.
Yeah.
That's the guy that mentally is not going to really be there, because he's going to be frustrated the whole time.
Yep.
And the guy that's really mentally into it and really focused is the guy who has actually put in the hours, has focused on practices, is focused and knows what he's trying to do. So I think they kind of go hand in hand. I think the biggest thing is anytime you go out, if you go through the entire process during practices and actually have quality practices, it's not all about how many hours and how many balls you hit. It's about actual quality practice. When you go out and play and you actually go through your normal routines, your pre-shot routines and everything, you're mentally going to be stronger because you put in the work. You put in the hours. You've done it the right way. That when you're playing, you're going to be comfortable. Even in uncomfortable situations, you've already put that work in. So mentally, you're already there.
You're tough.
And that's the biggest thing. You have to be there mentally.
Absolutely.
But the only way you're going to get there is by putting in the work.
There's no shortcuts to this game.
It doesn't happen. I think the biggest thing is that bounce backs. Because some days it doesn't happen. Some days you have a bad day. Some days you have a bad couple of holes. Well, if you've put in the work and you've worked hard enough, you know that, all right, I can brush that off. I can bounce back.
Right.
The guys that can't bounce back and just kind of free fall the whole way.
Yeah.
It's probably two things. They're either beating themselves up way too much that they can't get out of it, or they haven't put in the work or the correct work.
Yeah.
And just going to the golf course and putting in hours is not the correct work. And I mean, I've always prided myself in when I go to work, if I'm going for 4 hours, I'll put 5 hours of work in because it's all strictly quality work. There's never any wasted shots. There's never any, you're going through every routine and everything. You start getting the most out of it. And I think that's the biggest thing is you can't have, I don't think you can have poor technique and a great mental side, or a, great technique and, vice versa. I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Kind of go hand in hand. Yeah.
But the biggest thing you can't do is golf's mentally, you have to be mentally strong, and there's a lot of humbling things that happen in golf, and you have to ride the highs, but also you have to ride the lows too.
Handle the lows. That's exactly right. That's well said. Yeah.
You can't sit there and beat yourself up.
No,
you're your best friend when you're out there.
Right. No, you're exactly right. All right. Last question before I get you, let you go. When do you start back on tour, and where do you start on tour? And I understand, if I'm not mistaken, one of the events you're coming to, is it Tucson? Do I have that right?
To Tucson.
Do you know when that is?
That would be.
Don't worry about it.
I actually have it right here. When are we in Tucson? We are in Tucson at March 17th through 19th at the Gallery Club. Golf Club.
Okay. All right, because I may come down there to see you.
Awesome. Come on down.
I may come down there to see you.
It'll be easy. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But, and stuff like that.
But we start up late February is the first one in Mexico at Mayakoba.
Okay.
But I'm actually going to play a couple of events beforehand. I'm going to go over and play Abu Dhabi and Dubai on the DP World Tour. I mean, I've prided myself in always supporting that tour. And, as an honorary life member, I mean, with how I've kind of looked at the schedule, I've always, in going into the past before I joined LIV, I've always kind of wanted to play 22 to 26 events a year, not be 31 to 35. And so that, with playing LIV, that gives me the freedom to play and still meet my requirements for the European Tour.
Absolutely. No, that's great. So in January, you're telling me, before you take off, then you and Justine are coming here to Vegas, and we're going to tee it up.
Exactly. Sure. I'm coming. That'll be easy.
I'm going to send you
an invite. But it has to be warm.
Huh?
It has to be, obviously it has to be warm.
Well, it's going to be better than this, believe me. Believe me, it will be. Anyway, Patrick, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. You've been absolutely great. We'd love to get you back on with your availability, obviously. Great information. And good luck with grindworks.usa.com. I'm going to love them. We're going to try to sell them for you. And they're absolutely great. All the stuff you do is great. I know you're going to have a great season. You're just too good of a player not to. And Justine is fantastic. Your whole family's great. And we wish you the happiest holiday season, my friend.
Thank you. You too. And hey, those irons, they work, they work in the cold as well as the heat. So
I know that's what people,
people
are telling me. I'm going to do it. Thanks again, Patrick. We'll talk to you
Thank
soon,
you.
my
Take
friend.
care.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Patrick Reed, everybody. Great guy, great player, and he's going to have a good season. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we hope you have a great holiday season. We'll see you back same place, same time next week. So long.